couple days. There's one of those like big life stressors in my life happening, and I almost thought of not having this class this morning because I've been so anxious, and clearly it doesn't look quite ready. But I remember saying last week that I have a video that shows the setup for chair yoga, and it might be great to see. There we go. I can see chat now. You can see how I set up for this chair assisted hatha yoga. I'm going to do just a little, So the one thing that you don't need for this class is 2 yoga mats, but you'll see me set up 2 yoga mats. But before I do that even, I'm going to do one safety thing. I have socks on this slidey floor. I'm just going to sit off screen and pull those socks off. Check chat while I'm over here. I love how I can see just my toes. And while I'm sitting down, I have I use a jelly bend compression garment. And I'm gonna come on screen here. I'm gonna do a video about my top 5 tools for someone who practices yoga with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and a hypermobile variant or classic variant, a variant with hypermobility. And you can see I kind of just tug that on over my hips because it stabilizes my SI joint. And stage my ankle wraps over there and get my other yoga mat. So if you're doing this at home, you need just one of these. I always set up a T shape of yoga mats when I'm teaching, because especially when I'm teaching standing poses, it lets me change the plane I'm in and be really easily seen. So that adaptation is one you don't need for your practice at home. You just need one of these yoga mats. Or, I'm taking a moment to line it up. I have little tape marks to help make sure. See, ta-da, right in the center of the screen. The other yoga mat is already over here. I'll do the same thing. I'll line it up with its little marks and unroll it so I have a big T. And you don't necessarily need 2. You just need 1, but it helps me transition and show the poses. One of my most important tools, and a really necessary tool for what I call chair-assisted hatha yoga, is a chair, a nice sturdy chair. I got this one. I just put it there because I got to put my ankle wraps on. Where I live in Portland, Oregon, and in the inner southeast neighborhood for, I feel like most of my adult life, there has been a office furniture liquidators place where you can buy used office furniture. And that is a conference room chair. And it's one of those Herman Miller, they make the Aeron chairs. This is a conference room chair made by them. It's very sturdy. It won't fall over. I'm gonna get warm here. I forgot my watch. Pardon me one moment, folks. I put my watch on the charger when I wake up, and what have I been saying to friends lately? It feels like my brain is not braining in the manner I wish it was, not as effectively. So thank you for your patience while I get my watch. My watch actually, as a person with dysautonomia, right? It's very common with folks with, one of my PTs told me 60% of folks with one of the versions of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome or any hypermobility, often they are 60% more likely to have some form of dysautonomia. You may have heard of POTS, which is one of the types of dysautonomia. I'm getting my tea and my water. So I place my water near my mat. And having an app, I have an Apple Watch, but any watch that like monitors your heart rate and that would, it's actually how my PTs figured out that I had dysautonomia and asthma because my symptoms of dysautonomia have been ascribed to being asthmatic my entire life. And what really happens is I get short of breath, not because I'm having an asthma attack, but because my heart rate goes up so quickly. Like I'm doing aerobic exercise and I maybe looked at a good video of a cat on Reddit, and my heart rate can go up very, very quickly. So when I'm practicing, having something that I can, if I feel a little shaky, quite often I can feel it in my chest when my heart rate goes up. But I can also look down at my watch and be like, oh, maybe I should slow down a little bit, change what I'm doing just a little bit. I'm going to grab one more tool, and these are lightweight ankle wraps. I'm actually going to meet an ankle orthopedist next Tuesday morning because this ankle I broke many, many years ago, and it really got no follow-up care. And my ankles turn very, very easily. And a knee PT, that I was seeing for my knee, noted the strain my ankles. Just making sure I didn't pick up anything walking barefoot. I have a cat. So there's always little, even after I have let the robot vacuum run around the house, the cat always leaves a little hair here, a little hair there. Okay. So yeah, my person for knee PT was noting that the instability of my ankles put strain on my knee and recommended lightweight ankle wraps. You can see most of my foot stays bare, and I can really feel my feet, which check my videos. There's actually a video meditation called Feel Your Feet that I like to use when I teach fall prevention programs because it really gets us grounded back in these feet. So when I'm practicing yoga when I'm standing, I was advised to wear lightweight wraps to give myself a little extra support to help my knees, my hips, my back, and my ankles. All right. So those are all the kind of setup things I do. The one thing that you do not have to have extra for, right? You might not need all these extra braces. I have a brace on my thumb too. But you'll need a yoga mat and a chair. I like to use, in this class particularly, I call this format often, when I taught it in the community center, it was called a Yoga for Vitality. And it was a name my students in chair yoga gave me. I'm going to check chat real here. Hey, hey, Pizza Man 100 and Jacks of a Lots. You know, I do struggle. I wouldn't call it necessarily self-hate all the time, but yeah, what I'm going through right now is actually making me feel very vulnerable and uncertain. So you're definitely catching that. And thanks for saying something in chat. I'm still getting used to the hang of streaming, and I've been watching some other streamers and learning that kind of, because if I come try and read the chat on the screen, the camera's focused on me, you would get me doing this kind of like trying to get the right level of my progressive lenses to be able to read it. So I've learned I have a second version over here so I can check chat, say hi. Thanks for thanks for commenting. Yeah, today's a tough day. It's been a tough week. But I decided to show up anyway because I had it scheduled on my calendar here. And I'm really trying to commit to some of these live classes. So there is a growing body of full-length classes on my channel. And I can tell people, you know, this one I'll say if you get to about 15 minutes in, we'll get to really into the practice. But the first 15 minutes, you'll get to see how I set up to practice yoga safely with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And what I did is I'm sitting on the chair and I've stuck 2 yoga straps behind me. I have 2 different kinds. I'll get to that later. For now, this first bit, I'm going to do a quick little check-in meditation. If you wanted to be laying down, maybe you already are. My Tuesday class students, many of them like to start class just coming in, setting up, laying down. But if you're not, you could be seated. If you're seated on the floor, maybe something underneath you. Seated on the chair really lets our joints, all of them, have more support. And if you are someone who has low bone density that you're living with, being seated in a chair keeps your spine more upright. And today I'm grounding through my feet. So they're a little off camera, but I'm pressing my feet down, and I'm going to press my hands, palms down on my legs as well. Now, a trick I learned when I used to practice with the Zen community is that if your mind is already going in a lot of directions at once, don't close your eyes to meditate. It just will go in more directions faster. Likewise, if you're sleepy, don't close your eyes to meditate. You let your gaze fall a few feet out in front of you towards the earth, and you don't focus on anything at all. Sometimes you'll hear yoga teachers say, have a soft gaze. It just means you're not focusing on anything. And while I'm sitting here, I'm pushing lightly through my feet. I feel my hands on my legs, and I'm really bringing my attention to those two places, feet on floor, hands on legs. If you're laying down, you might just rest the hands on your torso somewhere if legs feels awkward. And particularly if my hands, because they're touching my body, I can feel warmth through my hands, gathering, building. And I can feel the coolness of the floor against my feet. And one at a time, I'm going to just trace the outline of each hand in my mind. And then trace the outline of my feet. Feel the very center of your palms. And then feel for the center of the feet. And if you are seated, especially seated on a chair, lift your toes up in the air for a moment. Doesn't work as well lying down. You can try and flex just the toes back, but when the feet are on the floor, the soles of the feet, and we lift the toes up, you can feel the center of the foot lift up a little bit. Let the feet relax, the hands relax. So sometimes when I do feel like my mind is a little all over the place and I'm a little ungrounded, something like a meditation of pushing my feet down, pushing back into the chair. I just remind myself I don't want to do that because I put yoga straps there, right? But that sense of pressure, it helps draw the attention inwards and reconnect to Jnana Maya Kosha, which is the self of wisdom. Our wisdom self is that non-judging self, curious self. My therapist likes to say that capital S self. And that non-judging self is what we want, because we're going to take it a breath. And I might intentionally start to try and take a deeper breath. And as I breathe out, I'm going to check in with this physical body that I've been connecting with through my hands and my feet. And I note first what parts of the body don't feel particularly good today. I live with several chronic health conditions that can make you feel not so great. So I just kind of note. I like to think of it like you're taking attendance at a meeting, right? You're just noting there's some knee pain, there's some back pain, there's some neck stiffness, and you just note the things without getting caught up in any story about them. And then you can move on to neutral things like the top of the head. Sometimes the back of the hands can be very neutral, the tops of the feet, earlobes, tips of the nose, tip of the nose. And then do any parts of the body feel good? If you are a person living with chronic pain, chronic health conditions, sometimes you run into that. Do any parts feel good? And there's kind of a, no, not really. And so you come back to finding, oh, this place is neutral. This other place is neutral. Now we are very intentionally going to increase our breath. Deepening breath in and out. And with that, next big breath in, deep breath. Move the awareness, and as you exhale, check in with your energetic self. What's your energy level today? How has it changed between waking and now? Take in a deep breath. As you breathe out, check in with the heart, mind, body. So noticing thoughts and emotions that are arising today. And that's for things like self-judgment or judgment in general, all kinds of judgment. The heart mind is the part of us that is pretty much usually going, I like this, like, don't like, don't like, don't like. So it's very busy with that judgment all the time. So we can note that's there, maybe boredom. I like to note the not good things like, there's my buddy, anxiety is with me today. Usually anxiety is with me, right? Some frustration is over here, right? We note all those things. Then we move on to neutral things. It is the last Thursday of June. Pretty neutral, unless this day has special significance for you particularly. And then good things. I am grateful I have all of the means to be doing this class right now for you here live on YouTube. There's so many things that have had to come together for me to be here in this moment. So, and it's Thursday, so there are professionals going through my neighborhood, taking away recyclables and compost today. I'm always grateful for that. So even when, right, the things are hard, one of my teachers and dear friend, still teacher, and she likes to say, you know, life throws these curves at you, and yoga practices that you do over and over, you are what we're practicing in the straightaway, because when we hit the curves, we'll have this practice. And that's part of the reason, right? I'm really grateful to have all these means to be here and decide, no, even amidst what I was feeling this morning, I know showing up and going through my practice with you and sharing that will put me back in my body and back in this moment. And that is the practice. So we're going to take a moment and come up to standing. I'm going to take a moment and get a sip of tea. And it is cooling off so much in Portland. I'm going to turn off this fan that is buzzing in the background, making it a constant companion of white noise, the white noise of the air purifier. Nerves, I'm going to say that 2011. Hey, hi, I just had that moment of like, and as I come back around, I need to check chat. I am, so hi, welcome. Just starting to get a moving practice going, a standing practice. I've got 2 yoga straps standing by. Some people might use yoga blocks, where I use a chair for everything. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this chair to face me up at the top of the long side of your mat. I was saying when I set up 2 yoga mats, so it's really easy for me to turn directions quickly on camera so you can see what's going on. We're going to do first what I call basic sun salutations, and then we're going to move through a really slow, kind of generously slow sun salutation variation. So I'm bringing my feet not close together, but underneath my hips, underneath kind of the hip bones, right? Hands in the heart center, Anjali Mudra. My tendency, especially on camera, all of our tendencies, is just a little a little crooked. It's gonna just bug me because I can see it. Thank you. I get all these places marked, but it's really hard to set up the tripod each time. All right, so I was saying our devices tend to make us bring our heads forward a lot. So really make sure, check in, bring your head back. And I check that, always get really tall. And I'm going to inhale, reach out and up, right? And let's add a little moon salutation and exhale. I'm going to bend on over to my right side. Inhale, I'm going to pull back up and then exhale, flow on over to the left. I think I saw chat move. I'm going to check it after this little series of movements. And now I'm going to reach back, hold as I breathe out, and then inhale, come up. Exhale, facing the chair, I'm going to hinge knees and hips and bring my hands, or I usually bring a soft fist down onto each chair to give my thumbs a break. And you can see I lengthen through the back. I'm going to take my tailbone back and I focus on getting my spine really long here. You can hear me take in a deep breath. I'm going to let that out, breathe in again. And I feel like a little adventure option would be fun. So I'm going to take my hands back. It's almost like I'm going to dive into my sun salutation. Take another breath in, and as you breathe out, hinge those knees and hips. Drop the hips down and inhale, come up. Exhale, hands come to heart. I'm going to take chat for a second here. My day has been hard. Chat. This says check in chat. Thanks for that question. Yeah, my days. It's rough for me right now, but practice always helps me feel better in my body. And how old am I? I'm going to be 57. No, am I going to be 58? Oh, 57 this year. 57. Had a moment losing it. I've been saying to my friends, it feels like my brain is not braining at top performance or effectiveness right now. So yeah, I had to think for a moment. My birthday is at the end of August, so soon is my birthday. Let's do another one like that. I'm going to do 2 more like that. When I do the second one, the second of those 2 more, so the third in total. Yeah, there we go. Thanks, brain. We're going to change and start adding into that, making it more of a sun salutation. Okay, so 2 more basics though. Inhale, reaching down, away and up, and exhale, this little extra at the top, a little moon salutation. Inhale, pull up to the center. Exhale, side bend on over to your left side. Stretch to that right side and inhale, come up. Exhale, reach back. Take a breath in and out again as we hold here. And then inhale, come on up. Exhale, hands come to heart center. I hinge knees and hips and bow down to the chair, bringing hands down for support. And once I've got that support, I lift my abdomen to spine, take my tailbone back, stretch to the length of the back body. Big breath in, maybe bring the hands up. It's been fun today for me, that little extra. I'm going to take 1 more breath in. And I'm going to bend knees and hips, drop my hips down, inhale, come up. Exhale, hands come to heart. I do that little kind of cantilever with knees and hips because if you'll notice, I'm keeping my back pretty straight and going into extension, back bend, but not forward folding into flexion. So if you are a person like me who lives with low bone density, osteopenia, osteoporosis, you might have forward bending loaded spinal flexion contraindicated. I'm actually allowed to do it carefully because I had been doing it for so many years. Inhale, 1 more of these. This one we're going to add on to. Down, away, and up. Exhale, bend right. Inhale up. Exhale, over. I go to the left. Inhale up. Exhale, back. And I'm going to take an extra breath here. Breathe out and in. Right, and out. And then in, come up. Breathe out. So there's that flat back I was talking about. I'm not rolling forward. I'm dropping knees, hips down by bending my knees. And then with support, I come up. There might be a little back bend there, a little extension, but I take that away by drawing abdomen to spine. Now, before we move more with our legs, I'm going to bend 1 knee at a time and move my hips from side to side. Kind of like some people say you walk downward dog, we're kind of doing the same thing, just giving our hips a little bit more of a wake-up call. Or as one of my physical therapists likes to call them, dynamic stretches. Right? Now, we're going to step back the right foot, maybe even step the left foot forward. Notice hands, I'm keeping my hands on the chair. I'm going to turn, right, kind of grab the chair on each side and put the heels of the hands there. Gives the wrists a little more support. I'm keeping my chest lifted. I've lifted my face up, brought my head back a little bit, bending deeply into that front knee. I'm on the toes of the back foot. So getting a low lunge here. This is kind of, in yin yoga, they sometimes call these dragon lunges. Okay, now we're going to push out of the left leg and draw the left hip back and lengthen it. Okay, making a pyramid shape. Parvottanasana, intense side stretch on hatha yoga. Now, I'm going to take a breath in. And I'm going to bring myself forward. So my shoulders are a little bit more above my hands because I'm going to step back. And then you notice I push myself forward a little bit. So I have shoulders over hands. I'm going to bring my head back up. Now that I checked, take my tailbone back, reach to my heels. So it's a plank. Okay. With a chair, big breath in. Exhale, a little bend in the knees. You might step the feet in and even have them step in a little close to a low chair dog. Low because the hands are on the seat rather than the chair back. I'm pressing my hands flat against the chair and I'm shrugging my shoulder blades down my back. So the back becomes really broad and strong, like a plateau, rather than the shoulders feeling like a valley or a hill. And I'm gently leaning back a little bit more. I'm actually taking my hips past my feet. And I can lengthen my legs all the way because I stretch a lot and I have hypermobility, but I'm being very careful not to let my knees hyperextend. All right, I'm going to have a little bend in the knees, right? And you can see I'm taking my left foot back because I'm going to step that right foot forward. Press up against the chair, lift the chest, lift the face. Bend into that lunge. I'm going to wiggle up onto the toes of the left foot so I can go even deeper into this lunge. But I'm keeping the back really supported. Okay, now big breath in. Check that your toes don't end up under the chair. You're going to exhale, step forward. And yep, I'm a little too close to the chair because I can't bend my knees and drop my hips down. To inhale, come up. Exhale, hands come to the heart. And do a little bit different variation. Add a little bit more here. So, not hit the sides of the thing. Inhale, reach down, away and up. Right? Exhale, bend right. Inhale, come up. Exhale, bend left. Inhale, come up. Exhale, bend back. This time we're going to come up with the first one. Exhale, hands come to heart. We bow down. Inhale, we lengthen through the back body and stabilize with the exhale, right? Get long and strong, and then inhale. Maybe take my hands back. It's feeling fun today. And exhale, bring the hands down for support. This time we'll step left leg back first. Okay. And low lunge if you're liking those, or push away from the chair. You can stay up on the toes of that left foot or land them down and make a warrior one. So high lunge or warrior one now. Reach back, breathe in. Now breathe out, right? Bring hands down, pull the right hip back so we get that pyramid. Big breath in. Exhale, step back, make a plank, right? Bring the hands, the shoulders above the hands. Take a breath in. Exhale, push back the hips and make a downward facing dog. Pause a moment. Take a breath, maybe move the hips a little bit. One more big breath in. And as you breathe out, I'm going to step my left foot forward. Push away from the chair. Come up into a lunge, high crescent lunge, or a warrior one. Wobbly on this side. Take a breath in, maybe reach back. Exhale, forward, right? We step forward, hips drop down. Inhale, up we come. Exhale, hands come to heart. I need a sip of water, and then we're going to do a third round of this. and add some more warrior poses. Give me a little moment to check chat there. Okay. So let's add some more balancing to this. Crescent lunge and warrior one, we're on both feet, but they're very narrow, so they're definitely a balancing pose. But we're going to add a warrior three now to this. So we'll do both sides again. A warrior three will show up on each side. We're going to inhale, reach down, away and up. Exhale, flow on over to the right side. Inhale, pull it up. Exhale, flow on over to the left side. Inhale, pull that up. Exhale, reach back, lift the chest. Inhale, come up. Exhale, drop that down, and inhale, lengthen. Exhale, right, stabilize. Clearly lifting my head. I realized I was looking down at my feet. Inhale, reaching my hands back. I'm going to just hold this one longer. It feels really good. I can feel my shoulders kind of curving in, so I'm going to roll my shoulders back a little bit, broaden across the chest. Take a breath in. Now, as I breathe out, hands are going to come down. I'm chuckling because my glasses are sliding to the end of my nose. I'm just going to take them off there. And inhale, right, up into that high shape of a crescent lunge or a warrior one. Exhale, bow down, right? Bring the hands down and step back. The warrior three is going to come at the end. Just had to remind myself more than anything. Into a plank, breathe in. Exhale, downward facing dog. And I'm going to take 2 big breaths here. 2 more. Big breath in. Exhale, I'm going to bring the right foot forward, right? And step up that left leg up into a warrior three. Now, hands are on the chair here. I need to really lift that leg, that left leg, push through the right leg. And if it feels like it would add something fun, hands back behind. I kind of like to do hands at the heart center because they stay close to the chair, or hands just stay on the chair. Now, I can feel my hip trying to turn up, but in warrior three, the hips stay facing the floor. Okay, now I'm going to land my left leg, bend my knees, bend my hips. Inhale, come up. Exhale, hands. I'm going to bring back to the heart. So the other side will do. Other leg will get that warrior three now. Inhale, reach down, away and up. Exhale, I bend right. Inhale, I pull that up, and exhale, I flow on over to my left side. Inhale, I flow up. Exhale, I flow back. Inhale, I pull it up. Exhale, hands together as I bow down. Inhale, I lengthen. Exhale, stabilize. Set up the legs and hips and core, and inhale, reach back. Exhale, hold. Another breath in here. Exhale, bring the hands down. Step back, left foot, right? Inhale, come up, high lunge or warrior one. Exhale, we're holding. Taking another breath, maybe even reach back. Exhale, bow down. Step back, right foot. You can see I have to wiggle myself forward so I get shoulders above hands. Big breath in. Exhale, downward facing dog. 2 breaths in and out here. Make them as big as you comfortably can. One more big breath in. And as I exhale, left foot comes forward, right? And I'm inhaling, kicking up the right leg and lifting it up. Balancing on the left leg, right? And you can see me finding that center of balance. And I've got to lift. Maybe hands come up to heart. Some of you might be really confident in this pose and take the hands out in front. Even playing with that makes me wobble. So, okay, now landing, right? The leg comes down, down, down. We're in a forward fold. hips drop down, knees bend, inhale, up we come, exhale, hands come to heart. Whew, give everything a little shake, 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 right? Whew, move it all around. I'm gonna put my glasses on and chat real quick because I'm definitely old enough. Well, not everybody's eyes apparently do this. Most people's eyes as you age, it becomes more difficult to see text close up in front of you, which is why I don't try and read chat on my phone, which is the camera. After that flow, right, you can see I'm taking a little moment. That gets my heart rate up, right, doing a flow like that. Not dangerously so, but it does get it up. So it's good for me to take a moment, have a little hydration, let my breath settle a little bit. One of the things with having dysautonomia and EDS is, right, especially my heart rate can go up really quickly. So sometimes I can be like, my brain can be like, this is what I want to do for practice today. And what is that phrase? I heard it on a podcast. You know, the brain made a decision, wrote a check that the body couldn't cash. I'm telling that joke badly, right? But that can happen a lot. Our brain is like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And our body's like, whoa. And when we have chronic health conditions, we have to listen to that. So I always note to people, part of the reason I prefer a chair over blocks is because if I ever am like, ooh, I got a little dizzy, because I do get dizzy very easily. The chair is actually here for me to sit down for a moment if I really need to catch my breath. Today I'm doing okay with that, but I thought I'd call out, like, you might see me pause and not just keep go, 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 because it's hard for me to do go, 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 go. So I also want to model, sometimes when we're doing a practice, we need to take a little break. That's okay. That's okay. What we are going to do next is come down to the floor. So make sure when we get to the end, like, have something to put under your head, have a few things handy. If you like to have blankets or bolsters, you are going to want your yoga strap, and we are going to come down onto our abdomen to start. So prone position. Give me just a moment to do the little camera adjusts here and move this down. So if someone does have a question or a comment, I can see it. Now, just a little lower there. That should do it. I've got 2 yoga straps, which is great when I'm teaching, because if I unroll one, I've got the other. This one, it'll show up in a video soon. This is also one of my other favorite tools. It's an OTPT stretch out strap. It's a strap made of loops. I think they're called a daisy chain in like the gear and climbing community. When I use these. You can't buy these super straps anymore. I'm kind of sad. For many, I've been teaching for over 20 years. And the first year of teaching, I got some, because often places I would go to teach, like community centers, wouldn't always have props. And I feel like the strap is one of the most useful yoga tools there is. So I just started investing in them. And by the time I left in-person teaching in 2020, I had like 30 of these. So many of my students, when I left teaching, were gifted a yoga strap. What I'm using it here for, you see me unrolling it a little bit, and I'm going to set my glasses off to the side, is I'm using it as a forehead rest. So my nose, one of my students actually figured this out and taught the rest of us. So you can adjust the height of it if you've got one of these rolled up straps, so it's tall enough that your nose does not smash into the ground if you're not using your hands to keep your face up. That lets you bring your hands and you've tucked them under the shoulders. Right? Actually, let's do a little extra back bend. I changed my mind. Take your hands forward. and elbow walk back. It's very easy for me to bring my elbows under my shoulders, but we're just lifting up. They don't have to get under the shoulders, and they shouldn't go any further than being under the shoulders. Once they're up, you try and let a little bit of lift through the arms. I'm going to actually bring my neck to neutral and stop looking up at the camera. And then once I've got that little bit of lift here in the chest and the arms and my neck is neutral, I'm actually going to try and relax my abdomen, my glutes, my legs, and kind of hang here in this little back bend. Okay, now I'm going to release that. And by release, I not only come down, take my arms out like cactus arms, but I curl my toes under and I just rock my hips side to side against the floor. Now, the reason I curl my toes under is because if I do not, my kneecaps, which are very small and unstable, can get out of place really easily, which is not very comfortable. So when I set back up after doing that, I actually kind of very intentionally make sure my legs are lined up. And when I go to relax my legs, make sure my kneecaps are stabilized on my abdomen against the floor. And then I'm going to lift up again, do one more of those. And this time I just brought the elbows in, I lifted up onto them. I have a little bit more to go till I get under the shoulders. So I come up just a little higher. And now I'm trying to relax the abdomen, glutes, hips entirely, legs. And then take the elbows out. This time, I'm not going to just curl my toes under and rock my hips. I'm going to bend the knees and slowly drop my legs from side to side, like a slow-moving metronome. Okay, a little extra back bend there because we're going to do some cobra lift-ups. And cobra lift-ups are different from cobra in that you don't use the arms. So we're tucking our hands. I'm tucking my hands right under my shoulders, right underneath my shoulders, and back and under. You can see they almost kind of disappear. I'm bringing my elbows tight in along my torso and back down. Feels like I'm pointing my elbows in the direction of my feet. Now, I can press my tops of my feet down to lift my knees without it causing a cramp. But if your feet or any part of the legs are like, oh, I don't like that, curl the toes under again. In fact, I'm going to just actually do that for a little stretch. Curl my toes under, lift my knees up, push back through my heels, just stretch the bottom of my feet. I'm even pushing in my hands and kind of pushing myself back a little bit. Okay, I'm going to let that release. Now I'm going to go, for me, back to tops of the feet, pressing down, knees lifting. Strong pelvic tilt into the floor. One of the ways you can feel that is a sense of your tailbone reaches towards the heels is what I feel. It feels like the abdomen is skimming up away from the surface of the floor towards your spine. We want to keep all of this tautness in place because we're going to inhale, slowly lift away from the floor. Hold, little hold, and then slowly lower. Maybe just an inch or two, maybe tap all the way down. Then nice inhale and lift up. And hold. And lower on the exhale. Inhale, lifting. Hold. Lower. Lift. Hold. Lower. One more. Lifting. Hold. Lower. And release. Bring the arms up. Maybe you're rocking the hips side to side, maybe bending the knees, dropping the feet side to side. Now, my body always wants some lengthening to the back body after doing extensions, back bends, which is what those are. Keep the strap handy. And some people like to come up, especially if you're going to be knees on the floor, child's pose. I personally, and I do this on my forearms a lot because of my thumbs, Right? I'm getting my elbows under my shoulders, and I'm going to lift up into a forearm plank. Little pause there. And then I'm going to start pulling my hips up, walking my feet in. Sometimes this gets called dolphin pose. It's a prep for Mayurasana, peacock pose, or scorpion, where you're balancing on those forearm balancing poses. Now, I am today going to do a little child's pose. Does feel great. I'm doing a wide knee child's pose. Not super wide knee, just a little bit. Just so there won't be a lot of pressure on my abdomen. Then I'm going to come on over on my back. I'm going to check the chat real quick, put my glasses on, grab my yoga strap. Oh, the other thing I want to grab is the clock that I can see without my glasses. Big help. So as I come over on my back, you can see I do a little bridge. So when I come down, my back is really smooth against the floor. I forgot to checking the chat thing. Okay. Nothing new to add to chat. I'm hoping you're still with me and you're just stretched out on the floor. You're lengthening your back and you're not trying to get chat going at the same time. After, a little bit more vigorous movement like a sun salutation, and those cobra lift ups, I come over onto my back first. I make cactus arms. If your shoulders are not into these cactus arms, just do this. Bring your hands down and out to the sides. But my shoulders are some of my more mobile joints, so cactus arms feel easy and good to me. I'm pressing gently through my feet, pressing my abdomen a little bit to the floor. And I'm going to take my right leg and I'm going to draw it up towards my torso, stretch my left leg out along the floor, and flex the foot back. Before I do anything else, I'm just going to rotate my right ankle a few times one way, then the other way. Point and flex my right foot a couple times. And then inhale. Come to a tall mountain. Now, arms overhead doesn't work for all shoulders, so you can make a big T instead of a mountain, a tall mountain. When you breathe out, pull your left leg up towards your torso and then rotate that left ankle around a few times one way, a few times the other way. Draw it and towards you're pointing and flexing your left foot a few times. Feel yourself press the right leg to the floor. As you let go and inhale, come to a big T or a tall mountain. Exhale, draw the right leg in. Inhale, mountain. Exhale, left leg up. One more time, back and forth. Ending in a tall mountain and finding the yoga strap. So the reason I like this OTPT stretch out strap even more than the super strap I used with students for like 15 years nearly, is that you can see I don't have to hold this with my hand. I wiggled that around my arm so I can keep a hold of it that way without having to grab it with my thumbs. Check, check, check. Oh, nope. I thought I saw something move. I have strict moderation on, so maybe occasionally I see chat move and chat is removed. That probably is a thing. So I have this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bend both knees, and I'm going to use this to do figure 4 without lifting my head and shoulders and back away from the floor. This is one of those tricks. One, I like to do this just because it's easier on my shoulders and my hands. The other reason I like to do this, particularly when I'm working with people who have low bone density, including myself, is that curling up, right, to grab your leg to do figure 4 is loaded spinal flexion. Right? could, could be totally contraindicated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this strap. I'm going to do my right leg first. I'm going to hook the strap just below my knee on the left leg, and then I'm going to put my left foot back on the floor. Okay, I'm going to bring my other hand, and I could even do both elbows through there and not have to pull. And I'm going to take my right leg over. Foot is always flexed back when we're doing figure 4. Now, some people just trying to cross the leg over and doing this is a huge stretch for the hip. If that's you and bringing your leg up like this is hard, you could actually try this on the ground and make instead like a tree pose on the ground and bring that leg out to the side that way. That figure 4 is popular in part because it's a way to get a stretch for the piriformis, but just staying even here, I'm flexing my right foot back, but I am reaching my right knee away. Some types of yoga actually teach people to physically push on this leg and push the knee away. Please don't do that. Even if you don't have hypermobility from some condition or some kind of connective tissue disorder, don't push your knee away. It's not good for your knee or your hip, for really anybody. The trick I just did, kind of without talking too much about it, remember that strap? I started pulling on it, and I'm pulling up a little of the slack with one hand. I'm keeping this one hooked at the elbow so it doesn't really put any pressure on the hand. So I'm just letting that hand rest here. And I have lifted, a little twist here. There we go, that's better. I have lifted my left leg off the floor now. Another thing I love about using the strap versus hands is look at this trick. I can circle my left leg around. I can kind of rock a little bit more easily, but this circling of the left leg that makes both hips then circle in this shape, great way to work on tension you might have there in the hips. Once I've done those I think them as kind of settling movements, my back feels settled against the floor. I'm going to strengthen through my abdomen, and you can see what happens with my legs. I'm tipping my tailbone down. Now, my low back lifts a little away from the floor, but your mileage may vary there. But I'm keeping the abdomen really strong to support my back because I've rocked on my sacrum, so my tailbone's tipping towards the earth. And that just brings a little more stretch to the piriformis. Okay, I'm going to release that little tip forward. I'm going to release the strap. I'm going to keep a hold of my right leg. I'm going to get a hold of it with the left hand, and I'm going to draw it across the midline, and I'm going to actually go back and forth a couple times. Start to draw into a little bit of a twist. Start to draw, resist that twist a little bit. And now pull. I'm going to go all the way up onto my left hip. I've got the strap underneath me awkwardly. There. Get that off to the side. Now, because my shoulders have so much range of motion in them, I often, when I twist, what I do, you can see I have my right hand here. And once I'm in, I'm going to open my right arm low and down to make sure it doesn't overextend at the shoulder. This is one of those twists. You could keep a hand here. My right leg comes to the floor. I'm still keeping a little bit of strength through the left leg. I'm going to even relax that. Just hang out here for a moment. I'm going to turn my head up towards the sky just a little bit, just to give more space around my right shoulder here. Now, in part because of my shoulders, but just to be really gentle coming out of twists and not actually add a lot of load, notice how I bend my right arm first, and I roll to the left, unwind out of the twist at the easiest place on the left, and then I come back to a mountain pose. And I can feel, things feel a little uneven. So I'm gonna lift up, make a little bridge. I'm gonna loop this back around one arm and bring it around the front of my right leg, just below the knee. Bring that right foot back down to the floor. Left leg's going to cross, ankle, foot flexes back. I bring the left ankle to the to the right thigh, just above the knee. Some of you might like to pull that down. That does put a lot of flexion right into the knee. So my knees, it's better for me to have, even though they can do that deep flexion, it's better to not go deeply into that and try and do this stretch at the same time. So I'm got my back on the floor, pushing a little through the right foot. I'm reaching my left knee out a little bit and away. We do want that reaching out. We just don't want to do it muscular by pushing our leg away. We want to do it with the muscles in the gluteus medius, right? In the muscles with the muscles of the leg and the glutes. Okay, now I'm ready. I'm going to keep that sense of reaching out, keep a foot flexed back, pull on my strap till my leg comes up, and I'm like, that's enough figure 4. That's plenty. And then I'll do a little of these kind of settling, gentling movements because they help my hips feel a little less, I don't know, sticky, stiff. Okay, once I do those, I kind of do a last little, make sure my back feels it's flat on the floor. I want to do that before I tip my tailbone down. And I strengthen through my abdomen before tipping the tailbone down. I'm still trying to reach out the left knee a little bit. Little pause here in figure 4. All right, now release that. Stretch that right leg out. Get a hold of that left leg again. Take it into the right hand. And you can see my temptation is to do that, but I have learned just recently to just stabilize that arm, not have it stretched out. I'm doing that little bit of pull over to the right and back, a little pull over to the right and back, a little pull over, not quite twisting, a little pause. And now into the twist. Pull it all the way to the right. See, I'm keeping my left hand on my ribs. I'm going to I realized I was going to knock something over there. And on this side, I'm feeling a lot more stiffness. So I'm noticing my knee doesn't come to the floor quite as easily. So I'm actually just leaving my hand here, just because it does feel good to encourage that knee towards the floor. I haven't unwound my left arm yet because I feel like I'm still settling here on the right. Now it feels pretty settled. I'm going to see how it feels to unwind that left arm out behind me. And then I'm going to turn my face up towards the sky. And it feels like my legs have settled. So I'm going to let my right arm just relax now. Really letting everything I can relax into this twist for a moment. Okay, then I'm going to bend my left elbow first, roll to the right, roll on out of this. And then I'm making my teacher calls it starfish, right? You stretch out in that 5-pointed star against the ground. And then like a starfish, you push against the rock, you cling to the rocks like a big tide is coming. And then you let it go. And you make any little adjustments. Like for me, I'm getting the strap unhooked from my arm. But you make any little adjustments. Maybe bring a cushion underneath your head. I'm going to grab something extra here. So we're going to do a breath practice. I'm going to do a breath practice in our Shavasana shape, right? Which, of course, means, if no one has ever translated in a yoga class, Shavasana means corpse pose. And it's not meant to be morbid. It's meant to be a reminder that when the last of our breath has left us, we are unburdened. Right? We have no to-do lists, no more bills to worry about. We are on to whatever it is our belief system believes happens at that moment. If you keep sliding, there we go. So it's meant to be actually this sense of unburdening. But a lot of, I think particularly more Western yoga teachers feel really uncomfortable with that. So you almost never will hear that translation of corpse pose. I actually prefer to, because a lot of times I don't always use Sanskrit in my teaching if I'm working with particularly elders or people with chronic health conditions. Using Sanskrit doesn't always add a lot unless it does for them personally. So I call this a posture of rest. It can be done in a chair, seated. It can be done supine. It is where we integrate the practice we are doing. So we take a moment, get settled, could be seated, but if you've been doing an asana practice, right, there's a reason why we just say at the end, asana is the movements, right, the postures. We want that rest at the end, and it's not because we think, right, like you're worn out, but this time of rest is when we integrate the practice we've been doing. Okay, that's what the rest is for. So the breath practice I want to do, I call it uncreatively double exhale, because that's what it is. You have an inhale that is a count of 5, and you don't need to get your watch and go look for exact seconds. You can just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the exhale is a count of 8 to 10, hence the double exhale. So we need a big but brief inhale followed by an exhale that is like you're lingering over a conversation you never want to end. And that's how we get that. So try this out. First, you got to breathe all the way out to start. Sometimes when I'm doing this, you can kind of hear the inhale because it's a big, quick inhale comparatively. But the exhale, you really won't hear much of it, even with the mic being so close here to my face. When you're doing a breath practice, if you realize, oh, my mind is having thoughts, having emotions, just acknowledge thinking, feeling. Or if it's like I'm sensation thirsty, it's not urgent. It doesn't need our full attention. We just acknowledge it. And what I do, particularly if I'm doing a breath practice, but usually even if I'm just meditating, I exhale. I use an exhale to kind of clear the space, as it were. Just one more round of this double exhale. And then I let my breath return to what I've taken to this year calling the ordinary breath. I used to call it an easy breath, but I was working with someone one-on-one who has respiratory things that they live with, and they shared that their breath never really feels easy. So we thought, let's not apply that judgment, because it can make that particular person feel a little like they're never doing it right. And I never want anyone to feel like they're not breathing right. It's the breath you have. It's the ordinary breath. So as you breathe this ordinary breath in and out, it doesn't have to be any count. It doesn't have to feel big. It's just the breath, your breath moving. And without the feeling like you have to change it, as you breathe in, say to yourself, I am whole. As you breathe out, say to yourself, and I always have been. Breathing in, I am whole. Breathing out, I always have been. Inhaling, I am whole. Exhaling, I always have been. Now we're going to make a little change. Inhaling, I am whole. Exhaling, and I always will be. Inhaling, I am whole. Exhaling, and I always will be. Keeping this mantra going, and speaking of mantra, this inhaling, I am whole, and exhaling, I always have been, I always will be, echoes the mantra of wholeness, the Purna mantra from the Upanishads, which says, Stephanie Sisan is the person who I take this translation from, and she translated the Sanskrit, which I'm going to chant for you in a moment, as this. This is whole. That is whole. When you take whole from whole, that which remains is whole. Purnamada Purnamiram Purnat Purnamurachate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishate Purnamada Purnamiram Purnat Purnamurachate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishate Purnamada Purnamiram Purnat Purnamurachate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Oh, it is June 25th, 2026, the last Thursday of June. And if you've joined me today for this practice, just thank you for that. I love seeing the chats. And if you have comments, please, I will always come back and check and try to answer them later. Hopefully, I had someone say one of the classes, they were not hearing the sound. Hadn't had a chance to go back and check it. So hopefully that has been working for everybody. And next week, I will be back Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific, with a yoga in chair session and practicing how I do yoga in chairs. So thanks very much.